Mike, turn your games down.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 221 of Games My Mom Found. I am Mike Albertin, and who's blasting through with me tonight?
I'm Michael Hughes, and I got through that entire introduction without anyone telling me how to do it.
I'm Blair Farrell from comicbookvideogames.com. Hold on a second. I'm getting a message. Mike, if you talk into the microphone, it picks up sound.
I hate this game sometimes.
Hi, everybody. I'm Robbie Sherman of Conversations with Robbie Sherman. I'm also a sound editor. I've worked on 6 seasons in a podcast and Let's Chat, among others.
And welcome. And this is your first time. Here's your first time joining us to talk about a Mega Man game. We are here to talk about Megaman X5 that came out on PlayStation 1, published by Capcom in 2001 in North America. Okay. Wow. This game's over 20 years old. It just occurred to me, like, oh, it is that old.
It shows.
Robson, this is your first time with us for a Mega Man. What's your history with X?
I had Extreme on the Game Boy. I think that was maybe a pre-Game Boy Color game, but I really enjoyed that as a kid. I've been through most of them. I don't think I've been through the XV series or whatever that's called. I had to, when I was going through research, I realized there are 8 of these titles, and I can't keep all the details from 8 in my head. There's just so much of this stuff. But I really have a fondness for it. I really dig the art style, and I enjoy the ridiculous melodrama of these robots that don't have feelings.
It's weird. We've been going through the series for a while now, playing through all the X games. I had, at the time, only played X1 until this podcast. Now I've played more than enough of them. And I'm not done. But it's definitely interesting. But I keep thinking about Extreme is one of those games. It's a game. I think it's Game Boy Color. There's 2 of them. At least the second one is definitely Game Boy Color. I think about those games often because I really, really want to play them. I don't know why.
I remember that being a real definitive video game for me, even though I was never good at it. I couldn't get very far because I would have it on me for so long. There was probably a good 2 or 3 year period where that was the only Game Boy game I had besides the very first Pokemon game.
Hey, that's what gets you into it. They're hard games.
A point to Mega Man that it is so well designed, it stayed with me for far longer than any Pokemon game ever has, even though I was good at those games.
Pokemon's a better game. But the action and the replayability there's a lot in Mega Man.
I just wanted to say I've kind of gotten a little bit back into Pokemon the last few years because they've been actually starting on working a real-time battle system, and I hate turn-based combat.
Oh, that's a stab to the heart for me. I love turn-based.
It drives me insane. It's so slow. And the game we're talking about today is so slow in some parts because they have to go through so much dialogue, and it just drives me crazy. It takes everything to a standstill.
Oh, it does. Mm-hmm. So I've never played Mega Man X5 before. I've heard Mike talk shit about it for years now, and I've been curious about it because I knew of it. I've seen speedruns of it. I vaguely remember the game when it came out back in 2001. I think I had a friend of mine that was big into Resident Evil and Mega Man, and I think he probably showed it to me, but I didn't give a shit about it. Only thing that kept in my brain was the fact that they had stupid names based on Guns N' Roses.
Boy, did they.
Extremely stupid names. There was no attempt to be clever about these names.
No, and that's my only history with the game. I really don't have much else. Blair, what is your history with X5?
Well, it's funny that this isn't actually the first Guns N' Roses reference snuck into Mega Man X because Neon Tiger's music in Mega Man X3 is the song My Michelle by Guns N' Roses. Look at those up and listen to them back to back after. So I been pretty much a lifelong Mega Man fan since I was a kid, but I never got to buy them day and date. We were just big renters, and I got a bunch after in the 90s when Super Nintendo games and Nintendo games were disposable and you can get them for dirt cheap. But when this one came out, I was in high school, and it actually showed up in my local Walmart, and I was able to buy it the day it came out, which was the first time, actually second, because Mega Man Extreme came out I think a month before in January. So this is my second one, but then a lot of my friends bought it too because it was 2001 and PlayStation 2 had just come out and PlayStation 1 software was like dying down. So all of us bought it and then everyone was like kind of talking about it. So that's like my fondest memories of this. But like, it's such a slog to play.
It is. And Michael, what's your history with this wonderful game?
I actually own this game. Like, I didn't own X4. I played it at a friend's house. So when X5 came out, I'm like, well, I got to get that because I liked X4 so much. And I bought X6. Turns out they're not nearly as good as X4.
No, they are not.
And I just realized I missed Mega Man 6 and Mega Man X4, which are two of my favorite Mega Man games. But man, am I here for this stupid episode.
I mean, this game, like, so I went through a love-hate relationship with this game. At first, I hated it. And then later on, I came to, not love it, but enjoy it, at least. But, like,
hate it less.
I don't hate it, actually. That's the thing. Like, it got enjoyable. Like, I had fun. I mean, I also cheated the hell out of it. I save state the hell out of this game, because I save state every game I can. And I can't play Mega Man without save states. I'm finding out very, very... 20XX is showing me, yeah, you think you can play Mega Man, huh? Well, fuck you. So, that's happening. But
okay, I'm going to come clean with all of you here. I got through maybe 2 levels on this game and just resorted to playthroughs because I was going so crazy.
That's
like,
There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, hey, it's however you experience a game. I mean, in my opinion, doesn't affect, or in the great words of Ninja, you're cheating yourself.
Look,
I
mean, that level where you had to, like, ride around on a little, like, speeder bike, I couldn't do a damn thing in that thing. I didn't even realize, like, how to control it properly the first 10 lives.
That's not... Okay, we should talk about that. Volt Kraken has got to be one of the worst levels I have ever played in a Mega Man game.
I remember after you did X4, you were complaining about Jet Stingray's bike, and I'm like, oh man, wait till you get to 5.
Yeah, not only do you have to do it, but to get the armor piece, you have to get all the orbs, which is like very, very precise.
Mm-hmm. I saved, and I also like I kept failing in that jet bike part until I had to look up a video and realize, oh, you can like dash with the bike because if you don't dash, you'll never make it. You cannot get through it in time. It's ridiculously hard. I mean, like. I feel like that would have turned... I mean, if I would have played this in 2000, high school Mike would have turned this game off and said, fuck this, and went on to play something else.
This is how I feel when I gotta play those goddamn boulder levels in Crash Bandicoot, let me tell you. Oh my god.
Those are better than this. This was...
They are!
Terrible. Like, I can't believe how hard that level is. Like, I mean, it's ridiculous. Like, and it's not even that once you get past the bike part, which isn't very long, the level's fine, but that bike part is way too difficult.
So this was the first stage I picked because I'm like, I'm going to go ahead and get this out of the way. I'm going to get that armor piece and I don't have to worry about it anymore. And I accidentally went in as normal X without any armor. So I got the Volt Kraken and I couldn't beat him. So I got the armor piece and I'm like, okay, whatever. I'll come back with his weakness. And then I went back to this stage and I still struggled with the damn bike, not even getting the sparks this time.
It's still hard.
It's
still very hard.
This game, I think, is of the easier of the Mega Man X games. Like, this is like challenging, but not. Well, I think
Mike says after a point. I think up to a point.
The Robot Masters, maybe the Sigma levels are not great. Well, the first Sigma level,
that first one, man.
Yeah, because we'll get there. But I think this was a time when they were just trying to. Because I wanted to find the source, so I brought out my copy of Mega Man X Complete Works, because I think they just wanted to end the Mega Man X series, and Keiji Inafune, who is credited as something on Mega Man, I don't even know anymore, he just said, I had very little to do with X5. I just told the team to finish off the series with his title and left it at that. That's why the game has a real feel of finality to it. So, like, he was moving on to X, or no, sorry, he was moving on to the Zero series, because the X series was always supposed to be about Zero, but I think he was vetoed into making the character look more like Mega Man because he didn't want a Mega Man game with like a red character with like blonde hair.
Yeah, but he's not also the best, I don't think so. He's definitely not the best game developer, that's for sure.
I think it got to the point where they even like killed Zero off in one game, and then the next game that he had nothing to do with, they brought him back anyway, and he's like, oh, okay, I guess we'll
Zero
just do that then.
Died, 3 or 4 times in the series at this point?
I had to go look it up because I've only finished the Zero series a handful of times. I had to actually go look at the plot because I think they had to change a bunch of the story because this was supposed to be Zero is gone, like he's dead. And then I guess he would have been brought back for the Zero series.
Oh,
but
so
then I
had it
forgot.
backwards.
Yeah, that the Zero in the Zero series is Zero's consciousness in a copy body, and like one of the villains in 03 is the real Zero or something. Like, it's so weird.
Yeah, I don't understand like how these robots can be so emotional. Like, they just keep being recycled over and over again, and they don't ever like see any problem with that. That they keep being brought to back to life to like live in this dystopia where humanity is long gone, and all that's left is the ruling leaders fighting wars against each other with these robots.
It doesn't seem like a very happy world, that's for sure. But like when it comes to like this game, I mean, I feel like X4 had story, you had cutscenes, you know, you always had stuff, but it wasn't like this game shoves it in your face. Like we made the joke in the opening a bunch. Like there's constantly in this game where you do things and all of a sudden whoever's talking to you from headquarters has to tell you, oh, this is how you do this. And it interrupts the flow of the game really bad. And this is a game that's all about, should be all about action, and like you're not here for a story. Like I played through a bunch of the X games. I don't know the hell the story. I don't care. Like I just Zero died. Sigma. Okay, cool. Let's fight. Like I don't.
My synopsis of the story is X. Come on, go X.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. I mean, it's not. It shouldn't be like, yeah, sure, there's a reason why we're fighting each of these Mavericks. Sure, they took over this place. Whatever. Like it doesn't matter. This game tries to make you care. Like, you know, the simple fact that you have a time limit in this game too, where you have like so many hours to stop an asteroid from hitting Earth, I guess.
Space station.
With the amount of time I played, I got down to like 5 hours, and I just said, "Screw this."
It doesn't game over though.
Completed nothing. No, it doesn't. I had no idea about that.
My initial playthrough, it was okay. Got to stage select, immediately fire the laser, immediately fire the shuttle. I'm not messing with the time limit at all. Because you have to like have so many hours pass to get the Mavericks leveled up enough to where you can start getting the extra parts. So I don't even screw with any of that.
The extra parts aren't for the ship. The extra parts are.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah, to enhance yourself.
See, I never found the time limit to be a problem because it only uses an hour when you enter a level. So essentially, like we were talking in the chat before. And I think it's from when I was playing it a bunch that I kind of maximized my time this run. So I did Grizzly / whatever the hell his name is. I don't know the non-gun. Crescent Grizzly. And then that gives you that gives you the spin sword move with Zero. And then I did Squid Adler to get the electric uppercut so I can be Izzy Glow, which then gives you the it makes it so you only have to do Duff McWhalen's level twice. Because you can go through with Zero and get the heart to break a ceiling, but then you still have to go back through with X with that weapon, which is obnoxious. But then once I got to the other 4, I didn't do any backtracking until I got to the Sigma parts because I didn't really need to.
We haven't really said it yet in this. I don't think we said in this recording, but the names of the bosses have 2 different names because for some, I think we joked a little bit about it where Blair had said they have Guns N' Roses' name. I just want to clarify that. So they have really stupid names.
And it's Claire Redfield's fault.
Yeah, it's the localizer.
Hey,
his name
you're
is
welcome
Eric
for the
Suzuki.
article, everybody.
Yeah, his name is Eric. Well, his name was Eric Suzuki. He passed in a car accident, I believe. And I'm not sure he was married to Allison Court, the voice of Claire Redfield, Jubilee, Lunette the Clown, at the time. But she was assisting on it, and she mentioned, like, hey, you really like Guns N' Roses. Why not give them... Like, so she gave them those names. But it's funny because I have the manual for the PlayStation 1 original, and the names in the manual are the names that are in the Legacy Collection 2.
Huh.
I'm pretty sure I don't have my copy on hand with me right now.
That makes me wonder how late in development they changed them, if the manual's already printed.
It's so weird. Like, why would you even, like, just translate it the way it, like, I mean, I get it. Like, oh, hey, you really like this band, but like they just like Grizzly / work because it's a bear / okay, but like Duff McWhalen, like really, like
and the Skyver and Matrix.
Matrix.
When I was going through playthroughs, the Duff McWhalen end battle looks so lame compared to what you had to deal with before Duff.
There were just so many things I didn't understand about this game. One thing I didn't realize till way later playing through it, you can duck for the first time in a Mega Man game.
Oh yeah,
It tells you in the first part.
I'm sure they tell you that. Yeah, at the beginning.
I wasn't paying attention to what she was saying. I was just like, I know how to play Mega Man. Apparently, I did not. But I'm okay with there being a duck. I think there being a duck is a cool thing. But there were other things I didn't understand. I didn't understand why bosses have levels in this game. That fused me. I'm like, what the fuck? I knew of it because I watched speedruns before, but I was just very confused a lot of times in this game. And not in any good way. I was not happy of it.
I think I told you last week that they tried to a whole bunch of innovations to mix up the formula, but all the innovations kind of sucked and don't really add a whole lot.
No, it's not. I mean, the game's different. One you can pick from 0 and X whenever you want, which is different than X4. I mean that's cool if but I don't like 0.
So I forgot you could do that, and it's probably because I killed him off right at the beginning of the game, so I never had the option to switch to 0.
I just use X. To me is if I'm playing a Mega Man game or I'm playing any game like this, I want a blaster. I don't want a sword. I mean, it's cool. I'm happy it exists. I'm happy he's playable because he should be, to give people more options and to make a game fresher in this case. But for me, he doesn't fit my playstyle.
He actually makes some levels easier.
That's what I've heard.
The Squid Adler level, it's way easier with 0. Once you get the Crescent Grizzly move where you can jump in the air and kind of do the spin sword, that makes it so much better for 0. That's how I optimized my play style, because it was easier to do that to beat Squid Adler and Izzy Glow with the uppercut sword. And Dynamo, I would always get the GA ranking with 0 because he can just annihilate him so much easier.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say, another thing that's weird about this game is, you fight Daimo twice. I don't even know who Daimo was or why he even shows up. He's just some robot. Oh, you beat 2 levels, now you get to fight him. Oh, you beat 6 levels, now you fight him again. I was just very why is he even here?
Yeah, they introduce him in the opening cinematic, or the opening tech crawls, I guess. It's, oh, who is this person? And it's oh, it's just a guy who was, bad.
That's what makes this so much worse than Mega Man 4, because we actually got some cutscenes in Mega Man 4, and I think that helps propel the action along so much further. And since this is even a newer title, it feels like a Redux having all these clickety-clackety things going on.
Well, I think it's because, when you look at the context of the time, so this is 2001, PlayStation 1 is well past its expiration date. PlayStation 2 is out. Dreamcast is out, possibly dead at this time. GameCube and Xbox are on the way. So this was okay, well, what can we do? There's still hundreds of millions of PlayStations out here. Well, we can make a new Mega Man game, and we can recycle a lot of these assets, and then we can kind of finish off this story to move people onto the Game Boy Advance, because the Game Boy Advance is coming out, and that's going to be the new 2D system. So then we can move them into the 0 series. But then I think this must have done well enough that the people on the top are well, shit, we can do another one of these, because X6 came out by the end of the year in North America.
God. It shows too, man. This drop in quality is apparent.
There was I had to go do accounts. So from 2000 to 2001, I guess if you count Tron Bonne, that was I'm going to say May 2000. And then a couple of months later, you had Mega Man Legends 2 in October. Then January, you had Extreme and Mega Man 64, which is the Port of Legends 1. Then this.
Pimp Your Ride for some reason just now. You like Mega Man? We got your Mega Man 0. We got your Mega Man Extreme. We put Mega Man X in your driver's steering wheel. That's what I mean.
As someone who loved Mega Man, the Christmas of 2001, before I actually played X6, was the happiest I'd ever been, because I had 3 Mega Man games for Christmas that year.
I think I'm a little outside, on my Mega Man love, because I think I actually like it on a design level more than as an actual video game that I want to sit down and play. I really just want anime from the X series. I want to go through all the Rockman and Bass little cutscenes they got, because that supposedly has super high quality cutscenes that game is like a point-and-click adventure, if I remember correctly, something like that.
Mega Man and Bass is what is a GBA, well, Super Nintendo and GBA game.
I thought that one was for like the fucking Saturn or something. Maybe I'm thinking of a different game.
There
forgive me.
is like a Japan-only game. It's called Super Adventure Rockman or something.
Okay, maybe that's what I'm thinking about.
Yeah, because it's not Mega Man and Bass, because
that's the one I want to try.
A terribly hard game that I have to put on the show someday. So.
And Trombone.
Yeah,
I forgot it came out before Legends too, but yeah, it had that demo disc in it, so that would make
How do we feel about Legends, gentlemen, while that's popped up?
It's the greatest series of all time.
Legends 1 is fantastic, 2 is okay.
Both of them are great. You can
I love them.
Episodes of them.
I love them, but I've never been able to shoot with them properly. I always feel so awkward when I'm trying to shoot with.
You just need to plan on something that you can remap the controls.
Yeah, that too. That's what I did when I played it. So one of the bosses that, like, it's so weird because I know, like, we're using different names for the bosses. Like, when Blair kept saying Squid Adder, I'm like, who the fuck was Squid again? And like, but that's Volt Kraken. It's like Izzy Glow, Shining Fireflies. Like, God, these names are just like, why would you change them? It hurts me.
So I looked up a scan of the North American manual. So two of the bosses, I think Tidal Whale and Shining Firefly, have different names. It's like Tidal Macaween and Shining something I can't pronounce.
That's weird.
So all the other names are the same, except for those two guys.
Huh. Okay, I do want to say I like the designs of the bosses. I think they look cool in this. Is this still sprites or is this models at this point?
It's still sprites.
Still sprites? Okay, they're just much better looking sprites, essentially. They look more detailed than I'm used to, but I don't play as many PS1 sprite-based games. But no, I like the design of the bosses. I like the way they look for the most part. I didn't have a huge...
I had to look up the manual after Blair brought it up. It's Shining Hotarunicus. Hotarunicus.
Rolls right off the tongue.
Oh, yeah, man.
My guess is they didn't translate it. They just translated the word.
It just seems like a one-for-one for like the Japanese name, yeah. But all the other ones are what's now in Legacy Collection 2.
Let me tell you something. That's a name you can fall in love with.
It's not even a name you can follow.
You want to say that at your wedding.
When you Google it, the only thing that pops up is Shining Firefly stuff. So I think it's like...
So I was thinking it's like Boomer Kuwanger, where it's like, okay, it's the name of a bug or something in there, in Japan, but no, it's just a word that they just apparently only exist for this game. Okay, but still, like, I mean, that made sense. Like, that's the thing about X is that all the bosses are always some kind of animal. So why the hell it doesn't make sense. Oh yeah, or in this
flower.
Case, yeah.
Well, hey, look, Sigma isn't an animal, and that's like representing the destruction of humanity and how we perverted nature. That's why all the other ones are animals.
Like for here, I just want to run through them really quick. You have Crescent Grizzly, which is a bear. You have Tidal Whale, which is a whale. Volt Kraken, a squid. Shiny Firefly, a firefly. Dark Necrobat, a bat with a monocle for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
A fucking awesome monocle.
I like it.
You're not shit, man.
And then you have Spyro Pegasus, which is freaking like Pegasus, I guess. He was annoying.
Yeah.
Burn Dinorex, which is a dinosaur. That's cool.
He's a flaming T-Rex.
That is cool. And then, God, what the hell is supposed to be the stupid... Oh, Spike Rose Red. That's sad. I'm reading one thing and I couldn't tell if that was the real name or that was a fake name.
No, it's Axel the Red because it's Axel Rose. I don't know. I always like Spike Rose Red. And I always liked his design. In
the flavor text, and I can't remember if you have to enter with X or 0, it's implied that Volt Kraken is related to Launch Octopus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he says something about
this is like not only is sorry, go on.
Oh, he just says something like he's gonna get revenge for Launch with a capital L.
That's cool though. I'm okay with that. Like the whole idea which is continues on in the series is that most of these Mavericks you're hunting were on your side and then were infected by Sigma and then become evil, I guess, or whatever the hell's going on.
Well, kind of like in X4. Sigma there's two Mavericks. I think it's Cyber Peacock and I can't remember. I think it's the dinosaur.
I can't remember.
Oh,
X4
Magma
for the life of me.
Dragoon. Because they have the Sigma logos when they come up, but the other ones are just essentially Sigma manipulates things behind the scene to pit. Essentially, it's the police versus the army. Because that's what these branches are. Like, essentially, you're a cop. And so some of them aren't Mavericks. It's just like an ideal. But this one is the Sigma virus, which came from Zero, that saturated the Earth and basically made everyone go Maverick.
And then you have like the Sigma virus in this game. Like it's those purple things you can't hurt. I didn't understand what they do. Like I got infected. They would hit me sometimes. Like okay, I don't understand.
So if you play as Zero, if you hit 4, you start to get power back, and if you hit so many with X, you start to lose power.
Oh, okay. Because I thought say danger, and I'm like, I don't understand what's happening.
Because essentially you're getting infected because the virus originated with Zero. It makes him stronger, which is part of the plot. Like I think in the second half, like the Doctor is like, this thing is making Zero more powerful, and it's kind of we have to watch him because like that's what is the plot. Like as someone who is like a Mega Man X fan, like. And that's the thing about this game, you kind of have to be all in with the lore, because this is like bringing it all back. Because in X4, it was made aware that like all of this kind of saga started with Zero, because he is the last of Dr. Wily's creations. And they kind of bring it all there, but they also don't go all the way with it. Like, I expected a robotic Dr. Wily to show up at this game, and I'm very bummed. Because Sigma even, like, you encounter Sigma, and he's like, I met someone who hates you even more than me.
Yes,
and there's,
I didn't.
Dr. W things everywhere, and you fight the Black Devil, and so you like, oh, is Dr. Wily alive?
That confused me. I thought that's what they were going for. Like, there was going to be something, and then nothing. You just fight Sigma twice, and the game ends. I was like, this is weird.
Yeah, because you're playing as X, you fight Zero in one of the later stages, and there's the big Dr. Wily W in the background.
Yeah, but I thought there would be something to do, like there was going to be something in the final fight when Sigma makes that comment, but I don't understand like what the point, like I don't understand what they were going for, unless they just cut it.
Yeah, it's a thing with Capcom and all their lore. It's like they introduce threads and then they don't want to tug on them because they're afraid of how it's going to screw up later on. Like Resident Evil is really bad for this, where they're like, they redid cutscenes of Code Veronica that's like, okay, Steve is alive, but they haven't touched on that in years. And then they do other things like, oh, here's this organization. Nah, we're not going to talk about them. And that's
Did you
what
kill
I was
Steve?
actually,
Code Veronica, I thought.
he is dead in the Dreamcast version, but in the director's cut, Wesker's like, oh yeah, he's frozen in my sub, and maybe they'll bring him back. Like, so they went through the effort of like making a new thread, and then it's just been dangling. But something I was going to bring up actually in the X4 episode that we did last year, when did Dr. Light become sentient?
I don't know.
Because
it is weird, like, it can make sense in X1. Okay, he hit these capsules. It's like, how many fucking capsules does this guy hide over the world?
I don't care. Like, that's fine, because when I think about Dr. Light and he's like building this robot, and he's like, okay, I'm going to die. So my Mega Man now has fought Dr. Wily 12 times. And this is not counting the Game Boy game. So it's like, I should better make a lot of these. Like, but it's like, okay, all of the story is going to conveniently take place in the spots where this armor is. Because in X4, he's like, oh, this conflict is bad. I'm like, how? Are you watching the news? You're just a recording. And in this one, he's like, oh yeah, I had to change all this because of this. I'm like, are you alive? Like, are you an AI? Like, is there...
It could be an AI. AI would make sense.
Somewhere? Because in Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, the Dr. Light AI works with Tony Stark to build like a Infinity Buster, and it is fucking awesome.
I think you've already thought more about
sense.
this plot than Capcom did.
Yes. I mean, well, again, like we said earlier, Keiji Inafune is ready to be done with this. Like, just throw it out there. I moved on. We're done. I'm God. I'm Mega Man, so we're done. I'm his father. Yeah, no, they weren't done. They got 3 more X games to make after this one.
Of varying
4
quality.
counting the RPG, 5 counting Extreme 2.
Trust me, those are all going to happen on the show one day. I am going to play the entire series of Mega Man. I am working towards it. So,
are you also going to watch the entire Ruby Spears Mega Man series?
I'm a gamer craziness. I'm not. Yeah, we're not going there. I've seen some of it.
Hey, it isn't too bad. It could have been a lot worse when you look at its competition.
Yeah, but cartoons don't always age well.
You should do a mini episode because there's one episode where
Yeah.
X and Sigma and one of the Mavericks
Spark
from Mega Man
Mandrill.
X1 come back in
Yep.
time and they meet Mega Man.
It's pretty rad.
Okay, that's tempting. Damn it.
This is canon.
Damn it, I'm in. We'll see. But like one thing also with the game that I touched on a little bit ago, but I want to go more in depth. Like this game has the bosses have levels, and it really I didn't see a whole lot of it because I didn't go through the levels fast enough. I killed too many enemies, and I got hit too much. Even with saves, I still got hit. And the way the game works is if you watching speedruns, they go really fast. Obviously, they don't kill many enemies, and it makes the boss level goes higher. Therefore, they're able to drop different parts. I didn't get any of the parts that they drop, and they get you get
That's
a
how that works.
booster.
I always just figured that it was for every hour that you pass on the countdown, it adds 1 to their level. But maybe that's not how
it's
it is.
based on your skill.
Oh.
When I started going through playthroughs and seeing that shit, I was so confused. How the hell do you pick all this shit up while doing all this other stuff?
It's that they actually, if in the speed run, the way they do the game, the guys are level 99 when they get to the final bosses, the refight.
Okay.
They were 96 when I fought them.
Oh, maybe 96. Okay, yeah, you had the same thing at the speed run then. I think it was 96. But it's just it's just weird to me. It's it just doesn't fit right in a Mega Man game.
Yeah, like I said, they tried to innovate, but the innovate wasn't good, so they doubled back on it in 6.
The duck's fine. I'm okay with the duck being there. It just everything else I don't like. The levels are stupid. You have 3 different armors you can get in this game for X.
I
That's
actually
a little
did
too much.
appreciate that because, they didn't run into the Metroid problem where, at the start of every Mega Man X game, it's why throw out your armor? In X2, you start off with a dash, so you don't need the armor to dash. So it's I guess he evolved that. But this one's oh, no, we're going to keep it. Keep
I did
that
like
shit.
that. I did like the fact. Okay, there's more than that because you have. I'm talking. There's a Falcon armor you have to get. There's the Gaia armor you get, which I didn't care for, and then you get the Ultimate armor, which I loved.
I was telling you
Just a
yesterday,
win,
I watched a ranking video of all the X armors, and Gaia was the very bottom because it sucks.
It's just there to blow up blocks that
And
you can't
walk on
You
spikes.
just needed to get a few hearts.
Yeah, it's not great. I mean, I shouldn't be upset that it exists. It's just weird to me that there's that many capsules in this game. It was just odd to me. Normally, you go for the 4. I had thought to get the Ultimate armor. Okay, I need to get all the capsules. I need to get all the heart containers. I need to get all the energy tanks. But no, all you have to do is just get to Sigma Stage 3, go in with no armor, fall down a hole, and then there you go. You don't have to do anything else.
Yeah, I didn't do that.
I am pretty good at falling down holes. Maybe I should have worked harder. In this
Hey,
game.
that armor, the game's done. I mean, it makes the final level a joke, but it made me happy because I love.
Except for Duff McWhalen, because you can careen yourself into the spikes if you're not careful.
Yeah, you got to fight him more legit.
Isn't he the boss that has a really dumb conversation with Mega before he fights him? He's just I know you think I'm stupid, but I'm going to continue to prove that I'm still stupid like you think I am.
What? I'm not sure. I didn't pay any attention to what the people said.
Yeah, I just rapidly hit the X button until the fight.
It's a Mega Man. I don't want story in my Mega Man game. I'm okay. Okay, I'm okay with story. I shouldn't say that. But I don't want dialogue. I don't want all this crap. I just want
It's not needed.
I'll take a stupid cutscene. What am I fighting for? But that's it. I don't want anything else.
And some and that's the thing about this game is that you can tell that it's a lot of recycled assets and concepts. So some of the bosses are the themes are wholesale from X4, and then the Duff McWhalen level is just such a chore because you're being followed by this submarine and it's going so slow. And it's kind of a throwback to Bubble Crab's level in X2. They even have the same music.
Yeah, the exact same song.
And you just have, and it's going so slow. And if you want to get everything, you have to go through it at least twice.
Yeah,
and
because
it's such a pain in the butt. And then even the context. So in Spiral Pegasus's level, you walk into a room with a ticking bomb, and there's a guy next to the bomb, and Ailey has to stop you to say, "Hey, the bomb's have to blow up." It's maybe stop talking to me. And then in the fire level, it's like, oh, there's a massive volcano coming. Oh, he's dead. I should have told him to I should have just let him go.
Oh, that volcano part was really annoying.
Yeah, I just want to say real quick about Tidal Whale's level. You have to use his weapon on a puzzle to get one of the capsule pieces. So you have to beat it and then come back, like Blair was saying. So
That's
dumb.
just stupid.
Put that in any other level and it would have been fine.
There's a lot of stuff with this game that are just like, that made me question it. I mean, one thing nice, I mean, I beat this game in like 2 days, so that was great. But I needed that. So, but it's just weird. Like, normally when you think innovation, you think good things, not, hey, how can we innovate this game and make it less fun?
I think it's not so much innovation. It's even happening now where people are like, oh, well, it can't just be this because it's a waste of money. I'm not paying full price for this. And that was a thing where, like, you can't just make an hour and a half long Mega Man X game. Like, you have to put in these things that are quote unquote value to make it more palatable for people to buy. It's like, and that's why X4 didn't have any of this, and it was great. But maybe there's data to be like, okay, well, we need to add more stuff. And you see that as like X6, 7, and 8 go on, because these are packaged goods where, like, okay, it has to be more than this. We have to add more stuff and reasons to keep going back.
They have to like keep adding on story to it too. And the playthrough I saw where you got to like Zero dying and he just has like this vision of Iris, it felt really out of place because you get like nothing of that throughout the game too. It was just like put there, like, let's go be there for the fans. The fans will know what's happening. I had to look up like so much to figure out what the hell was going on with that.
If you're going into like Mega Man X5, it's like, you know, this is your first one. It's going to be like...
Yeah, this is not a good first.
Because like,
just play X1, that's all you need to play.
Mega Man Classic is pretty much just like Dr. Wily's up to his old tricks again, except for like 4, 5, and 6, where it's, oh, there's another guy. Oh, no, it's actually Dr. Wily.
I had this at some point when I was like a very young teen, and there were just like parts of it I was so confused by. Like, I remember wondering like what this fucking story was and who all these characters were, because I just thought it was another Mega Man game. I didn't understand that X was a separate series, like technically, and it's like 300 years in the future or some horse crap like that.
It's the Mega Man canon is really weird because there's Mega Man, there's X, there's Zero, ZX, and then Legend is after all that. If I'm correct.
Yeah, and that's a funny thing because I tried to look it up beforehand because I'm not sure if it's translation error or if they were actually going to link the series that way. Because there's an ending where apparently it's the bad ending. I always thought it was the more interesting ending where Zero gets infected, and when you beat Sigma, Dr. Light comes and erases X's memory of Zero, and he's talking to one of his subordinates, and he's like, I don't remember Zero. And then they talk about like their dreams and hopes for the future. And X is like, I want to make Elysium, like this paradise for humans and Reploids, which is essentially the space station in Mega Man Legend. And it makes sense that Mega Man Trigger would be X because his job is to protect the Master System from aberrants, which are Mavericks. But I think that was supposed to be translated into Neo Arcadia, which is like the place where the Zero series takes place. Because I know there's an ending at the end of ZX Advents. If there's like a secret ending, if you finish it on hard, where they mention a great flood. So like that, the Legends is possibly after that series, which only had 2 entries because it never got a third. I guess the third would have like introduced like the Calamity Flood, which made all the islands and the refractors and everything.
And Capcom didn't want to count to 3 anymore, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think
Valve syndrome.
Diminishing returns at that point.
Oh, no, I get
I think like
I'm still sad we never got a Legends 3 that we were supposed to get. That was freaking started on. It makes me sad.
Maybe they should have released 8 Mega Man games in like a year's span.
Hey, they made money, so okay. All right, I think some of the other stuff in this game that I want to mention. We mentioned all the bosses pretty much at this point. And then you have the Sigma stages, which we should talk about. Isn't like you guys were? I was reading this, or someone mentioned it. Isn't like just a rehash? It's a rehash of a different level in a different game, Mega Man game.
The start of the first level is Quickman's level for Mega Man 2.
Okay, with
It's
the lasers.
a one-to-one recreation.
I was not happy to see those lasers again. Because I love Mega Man 2, but I do not like those lasers in Quickman stage.
Even with the time stopper weapon, it's really hard.
I had a hard time with save states doing it, and I was able to cheat. So
Seeing those mouth lasers is so odd to me. Like whenever they just open their mouth and they just have it open and all this laser blast is coming out. It feels very uncanny in a weird way. I don't know quite.
It wasn't fun. It's a nice. I mean, it's a cool throwback to Mega Man 2. I'm okay with that, but the challenge of it was kind of like, this is just stupid. Oh, and I do want to kind of touch on it. Like we talked about the hour system, but like the whole idea in this game is that you're told to defeat 4 Reploids and then get this laser cannon to shoot the space station that's falling. And then if that fails, which it has a 1 in 4 chance of actually working, then you have to go get 4 shuttle parts, and then the shuttle Zero will drive and try. And if you got to get will then try to blow up the space station. And I guess that's where he has a 3 in 4 chance of it. Has a 3 in 4 chance of it working. And if it fails, Zero dies and he's out of the game. You can't play as him anymore, which is weird. I found that very strange. I mean, I thought the game would have gave a game over. I really did. Like, to me, that made sense.
Wait until you get to X7. You can't actually play as X until like 2/3 of the way through the game.
That's what Blair was saying yesterday.
It's so dumb.
An episode that you had not heard yet. But yeah, I mean, I find that like, I don't know. I'm excited for X7. Okay, I really am. I don't know why, but I have been excited to play X7 for years since I first saw it.
It's like being excited to go to the dentist. You know it's going to be awful, but
well, because X7 looks so different. It's a like 3D-ish game, and it just looks really interesting to me.
It's on par with the early 3D Sonic games.
Which I'm a fan of. Yeah, I'm a fan of Sonic Adventure too. I will bet for that.
That's one of the best games ever made.
Other than those goddamn Rouge the Bat and Knuckles levels where you gotta go around and find gems with their little. I hate those things. I hate those things so much.
I would rather play Sonic Adventure any day of the week than Sonic Frontiers.
Oh God, really? You don't like Frontiers that much? Wow.
Yeah, we won't get into that. I'll try
Okay, you got my curiosity though, but no, Sonic Adventure 2 is just amazing game. But no, I'm just curious about X7 for some reason. I can't help it.
And I was excited too, as I remember. I this is pre-internet, I think, for me, because they had a screenshot in EGM, and it was like cel-shaded graphics, and it was the highway stage, or it was a facsimile of the highway stage, and I was like, so good, like it was so colorful and bright, and I was like, why are they in the highway stage again? Like, what's happening here? And then they kind of went silent, and then it came out, and I remember reading the reviews, and I was like, oh no, what happened? And then I played it, and then I was like, oh no, what happened?
Burn to the ground! Burn to the ground! Burn to the ground!
You punk, you punk, you punk, you punk.
I am excited for it, okay? I mean, it won't be this year.
Say that now.
Because I've been trying to do a job of like switching off from Mega Man regular series to X series, and I've been doing that off and on now for a bit. So
I hope it lines up that Mega Man and Base and X7 are like neck and neck, so you have to do them one after the other.
So I hate Mega Man for the rest of my life? Is that what you're trying to go for? I'm like, fuck this, I'm done, never again.
Oh, you still gotta get through X6 before you get to X7.
Yeah. I'm curious about X. Oh, one of the things in the Sigma stages, because I know, Mike, you beat the game with X, and then you decided to go through this game with Zero.
Why
don't you talk about that?
Zero. So Zero feels like he doesn't do as much damage as he should, because I started with the Crescent Grizzly stage, and I was getting my ass kicked. Because like we said earlier, he's got the limited range and whatnot. But so I restarted with the black armor. It gives you a few of the upgrades right away. And it helped me get to that first Sigma stage where it's the fucking Quickman lasers, which sucks. And then you get to the boss and it's a recreation of the Yellow Devil. And my fucking God, I'm so sick of that boss archetype showing up in these games.
And also,
it's so long too. It takes so long to beat. And it's cool that it changes into a Wily machine. But that doesn't help the fact that it feels like it goes on for like a half an hour.
And also, why is he in an X game?
Because it's Wily, obviously.
Well, that's the thing. Because the implication is that Sigma somehow has gotten hold of old Wily tech and knowledge.
But then why isn't, like, there should have been something more, like, there should have been, like, a another boss fight. Something like, I was expecting a Wily capsule to show up in the end of this, like you would fight as a final boss with Sigma. I wasn't expecting what I just, that to me was odd. Like I thought there'd be something more when he, like we said earlier, when he makes that comment, I met someone that hates you more than I, hates you as much as I do. Like, oh, okay, then nothing.
And what's even more confusing, and in the Zero series, there's a scientist with a head in a jar and a robot body, and his name is Dr. Weil, Weil, who looks like Dr. Wily, but is a completely new-ish creation for that series. Like, that's what I was hoping they were going to do with this.
That just makes no sense.
Yeah.
Is his name Dr. Wowie? Someone different?
We'll find those energy emissions, we'll find Dr. Wowie. Fucking classic. Elevate.
It's so bad, the voice acting is so...
He just wants to work in his boat shop.
Yeah. With his weird empty eye socket.
The other Sigma stages weren't too bad. I didn't have a problem with them. I'm trying to think, the second boss that you fight in the Sigma stages, I know is a reference to Megaman X boss.
Ragna Bagna.
And that was kind of cool. Like, I mean, if you're going to pull any Mega Man boss, I don't want to fight a fucking, Yellow Devil fight ever again in my life. So I was not happy to see that. But Ragnar, the other thing was cool to see. Like, I didn't have a problem with that.
That level, I think, is a recreation of Sigma 1 from X1.
That makes sense. At least you have to fight the damn spider.
Oh, I hate that spider.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just, I think you are right though, Blair. That is a recreation of X1. What was it kind of cool, especially if this is supposed to be like the last game in a series.
Yeah, that makes it make more sense.
Yeah, I kind of like them reusing ideas a little bit, since this is supposed to be like the last game in the series. Of course, it wasn't. That makes it more frustrating. I actually think this would be a better ending than what came after it. The few times I played 7, like, oh my god, what a dog shit video game. I hate that thing so much.
Oh, I can't wait. I'm so excited for it. I don't know why. I heard X8 is good though.
It's fine.
It's possible. It's better than this one, but not as good as 4.
I genuinely can't remember it well enough to tell you if I think it's good or not, but I bet it is better than this one in 7.
I don't think it has to be hard to be better than 7 from everything I've heard. But like, also like the Ragnar fight, like, I mean, it's kind of close to it. Like, you have the spikes in the middle, and it took me a little bit to realize I had to shoot the fire at the end to kill him, because I was like, why isn't he showing me an eye so I can shoot his eye? I'm like, oh, and then I shot the fire by accident, like, oh, it hurt him, and then I blew up the fire.
I got a bunch of cheap deaths because spikes came out and I didn't move fast enough.
I had gay armor on, so I just stood on the spikes.
That's probably good. I never
thought about doing that.
That's what the guy told me to do.
Yeah, I used Falcon just to fly in the middle of it when it closed.
You go, Falcon punch!
No.
The Falcon armor's cool. The fly was cool. I was a fan of that. Like,
oh yeah, you add any flying element to a platformer, it makes it so much better.
Oh, I'm so excited whenever I get to fly around on my little rocket boots.
Like Dark Necrobats level, it's like, oh yeah, all these things, and I'm just like, okay, cool. I'm just gonna fly here, like recharge by jumping on the wall, and fly through the rest of it. Bye.
You're also invincible to like 90% of the attacks in the game while you're flying.
Which is nice. And the fact that you get to pick the armor when you start, like, I thought that was cool. Like, and I know Blair brought it up earlier, but I really liked that. Like, I thought maybe that's because I played this game on easy, but I think it's just a thing. And I'm like, that is a cool idea, just to let you have that little bit of a boost.
I don't know about carried over in X6 too. You start off with a Falcon armor.
It's not as good.
I'm excited to play 6. Like, I don't, I want to play this whole series, and I'm excited to finally experience the entire X series. Like, I am,
A lot of X6's downfall is the level design, just not up to par.
I've never been able to finish that game on anything other than easy.
Oh, it's hard. I don't like hard games.
It's not hard. It's just
save states.
Badly designed. It's not hard as in, oh, that's my fault. It's hard as in, they had 3 months to put this together.
God, there's a lot of cheap deaths.
Yeah.
So basically, you're talking the same quality as that 06 Sonic the Hedgehog, right? Like,
there's
oh my god.
Blind jumps, and every stage has a mini boss, and there's one level in a museum where you have to do it multiple times.
Okay, you're not selling me on
random,
this.
I don't.
Whatever, like, however you go in.
I know lives in this game are completely meaningless because when you get a game over and select continue, it takes you back to where you would have went if you had just died normally. I don't think that carries over into X6.
And then also, because in this they bring in a mechanic where like, oh, these random Reploids are here and you save them, and every time you save them, you get your life filled up and an extra life. So even like when I was in the Sigma stages, and because in order to equip the armor, you have to do before. So I got the ultimate armor, which you have to go in Sigma 3, and then Dr. Light's like, dude, why are you coming in here naked? Here's the super armor. In order to equip it, you have to like essentially commit suicide. But I had like 9 lives, so it just took so long for me to die to like go and like be able to equip it.
I did the same thing because I really wanted that armor, and I wanted it for the zero fight.
Hit R2, and it's the win button.
Hey, I'm okay with that. I really like that. I was like, this is perfect. Like, this is how I want to play my Mega Man game.
And we talked before about how I guess apparently it's called the Shadow Devil. The fight takes forever. It's because we talked about the levels, the boss levels here and there, but we didn't actually talk about what they do. And it seems like the only thing they do is give them more health the higher their level is. So by the time you're at the Sigma levels, they're all a high enough level, no matter how good you played. So it feels like the stupid fight takes forever, and you only have about a 4-second window to attack it when it exposes its eye. And then you gotta wait for him to shuffle of his parts again.
And none of that level stuff is explained anywhere.
Right.
Which is weird, because she explains it
not even in the manual.
Doesn't stop you like, this is how the game works. Nope.
Yeah.
And they talk about like time limit too, and then it's just like, because you can fire, you can get all the parts of the cannon and then shoot it, and then you were like get rid of the base station, and we're like, oh yeah, I guess there's these other 4 bozos, we should probably deal with them. But like that's all random, because it's not like it's timing you, or maybe it is, I don't know. I know every time you enter a stage, it takes away an hour. And after you shoot the cannon, after you beat the 4 bosses, it's like, okay, we have a bit more extra time, so they add more time on. But it's not like Dead Rising or whatever, where it's, oh, if you don't get somewhere by like 3:30, then you have to start the game over.
It's strange.
So, Mike, I have bad news for you. I was curious how many games had devil bosses in them.
Yeah.
It looks like 9, 10, 11, 5 on the Game Boy, 0 and 02, and then ZX all have them. Those are all games you have to do still.
The Devil in 11 is awesome. I love 11's Devil.
The one on 9's not bad either.
11 I'll be playing legit, because I don't have a choice. So I can't cheat.
But that game also has a mechanic where you can speed up and slow down.
Yes.
And
so it's
better use it.
Yeah.
Oh, you know I will be. I use every cheating method that the game gives me.
I was being
It's not cheating when it's a mechanic.
You have to use it.
Oh, okay.
Game is built around that stupid thing. I'm
looking forward to playing 11 too. 11 looks interesting, and I'm
an 11 defender. I love Mega Man 11.
I'm looking forward to it. And that brings us to the last thing I think we should talk about is we haven't talked about Sigma yet. The 2 fights of Sigma.
Real quick before we get there, you got the refights. As we said, they're all level 96 and have 100,000 health. But also, when you fight them, the background is just batshit insane. It's like a 3D model of a globe spinning around, and the background behind it spinning around. And Blair, you said you had an issue with this?
Yeah, my fiance was watching me play, and then we got to the Sigma levels, and she was like, I cannot focus with all this nonsense going on in the background. It's for the entire palace, because it like the platforms are just kind of just like transparent wire grids, and then there's like this flickering thing in the background. She could not handle it.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's weird. And like if you have the ultimate armor, which I had, it's just press like Blair said, just press R to win. Like that's just, you just keep hitting them until they die.
I keep forgetting you guys had that because I didn't do that. So I'm playing them normally, and they take forever.
I wasn't gonna dare. Like,
listen, if I'm gonna play a 6 out of 10 Mega Man game, I'm getting the 10 out of 10 armor.
Wow, 6 is generous.
Yeah, and it's so easy to get. Like, it's just there's no point not to get the ultimate armor for that last level.
Plus, they're like the weaknesses don't feel like they do extra damage. Maybe it's just because that's so much health.
Like Burn Dino Rex, like you hit him with the tornado, and it takes like 45 seconds for him to like bounce off the ground 5 or 6 times.
Right.
And like even the Black Devil, because I was replaying this a while ago, and I was like, what is the weakness? And it's the electricity, and it does less damage. It does more damage if you just use your charge shot.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
Like,
what I
it's not
ended up
even
doing.
worth it.
That's stupid.
Because I had the quick charge thing on. I'm like, because the initial Tri-Thunder shot deals damage, but then it like triggers his vulnerability frames. So you can only hit him twice if you're lucky. Whereas if you're using the charge shot with the quick charge, you can get like 3 or 4 in. God, that fight sucks.
Mm-hmm. That's one of the worst boss fights in a while.
Mm-hmm.
So it was not good. All right, then I always make this joke like with Sigma because like you fight Sigma throughout all these games, and he goes from like in one game he's Captain America, he looks like he's Wolverine.
Mm-hmm.
In this game, he decided to be Falcon at first because he comes out with big Falcon wings.
Oh yeah, I guess so. And then he's Lex Luthor.
Yeah, that's what I thought of. I was like, okay, and it's just like weird because like in the background you see the 2 pods that are supposed to be Zero's pod and X's pod. I'm guessing is what they were going for.
Yeah,
with the big outlines of them in the background.
If they were going to turn him into Lex Luthor, they should have just got the big gun in, brought in Tim Bruce to do all the riding on him. They really should have put the budget where it needed to go. You know what I'm saying?
They didn't put any budget anywhere in this game. They were like, how can we make something cheap and make money off it?
Well, that's exactly what they did, and why there's an X6 and 7 and 8.
I like the graphical look of 7 and 8 at least. I'll give it that.
I do too. That's why I'm interested. And then after you beat that form of Sigma, you always have a final form. Like it looks like he's like in a giant mech in the background, I guess, and you're just fighting the head.
Yeah, and it almost feels like a throwback to X1 where he's got the big robot body in the background.
Yeah, but it's just a weird fight too. Like I didn't know you could blow up his arms because I didn't do that. I just fought the head, but you can blow up the hand, and then he does different attacks.
Yeah, like the purple squares. Fuck those things.
That's what the speedrunners do. They blow up one hand so that way and then they just hit him over and over again with the ultimate armor. That's all I learned. I was like, oh, okay.
I might have to replay with the ultimate armor from the beginning and see how that goes. I don't think
Probably
I
a lot
said
better
it.
experience.
Yeah, I was replaying it with Zero, and I got to that first Sigma stage, and I finally got through the quick lasers, and then I got to the Devil, and I tried it like 3 times. I'm like, yeah, I think I'm done. I got the gist of it.
That's enough of this game. And then I guess Zero dies in this game again because he sacrifices himself, right?
No.
Well, I mean, that's only like one outcome, right?
Well, in the 0 and X endings, in the ending where Zero doesn't get infected, if you finish with 0 or X, he dies. But in the infected ending, he always dies.
Okay.
And I'm just trying to keep him straight because I watched them all before we recorded.
And is it a Wily capsule that shoots him in the background, it looks like?
I thought it was just like Sigma's weird head comes back to life.
I just saw it briefly because I'm watching something in Japanese or hitting buttons quickly. And in the end cutscene, I saw X has a Zero Saber then for some reason.
Yeah, you start with that in 6.
Of his friend.
Okay, so that does carry over to 6 then.
Yeah, and then you just find I can't even remember how they reconcile in 6. It's just like you find Zero and he's like, oh yeah, I guess I'm back now. But you find him like near right away, if I'm not mistaken.
So do you not have a blaster in 6 and you just have the saber?
No, you have both. The triangle, I think, is the sword, and the square is your shot.
It's not nearly as good as when Zero uses it.
And the armor you get is like a blade armor, so like your charge shot is like a sword, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a ninja suit, which looks cool, but is terrible.
Yep, all checks out.
That basically sums up the Mega Man X series around a whole, like a lot of the time. It looks great, but it's terrible.
That's after X5. That's when the series gets bad. Okay. So I'm going to go on to questions, comments, and memories. So I posted in a bunch of different groups. People got mad at me this time because as I put in my post, this is the beginning of the downfall of the X series, and people did not like that. By the way, they're like, that's 6, not 5. No, this is the. I mean, I didn't hate this game, but this is definitely the beginning of the downfall.
Yeah, this is because X1 through 4 are all classics. Like they're all great. X5 is passable. So this is when it starts to waver, and then it just goes downhill.
Okay, so I had to put that out there because that's how I led up when I asked for questions, and so some of the people's responses are more towards that. Like I watched the entire Blood Super Replay group. First one from Gabriel Durante. The names of the Mavericks make this a 10 out of 10. Apparently, he's a Guns N' Roses fan. Then I take it.
Yeah,
I'm not. And from Sam Cardelin, I remember my brother buying this game from our neighbor back in the PS1 days. I played this in X4 so much. I have replayed this game a couple times since the X1 and X2 collections. I enjoy X4 more, but this is still a great game. Funny enough, I pretty much used to always play this game as Zero. More recently, I've been using X. I like how they are so different. And from Emmanuel, friend of the show, all I want to say is that Duff McWhalen is a cooler name than Tidal Whale.
No, it isn't.
From Charles Bells, I thought the downfall of the series was the PS2 one. So, I mean, that's when the series really takes a hit, right? It's X7, but, like, this is the beginning of it. So,
yeah, it starts as a decline and then it just drops off like like a cliff.
And then from Steve Lusiter, friend of the show, X5 is a fine game. While not as good as any of its predecessors, it's far and above better than any of its successors. While this was the last great Mega Man X game, I can't say it had anything to do with the downfall of the series. It was clean, vibrant, and still held a lot of the traditional gameplay. I think its only real problem was the god-awful English variants that tried to mimic famous rock stars. They should have just stuck to the now canon names for the robot masters like Spyro Pegasus and Tidal Whale. And from the Mega Man Universe group, I got one comment from Will Peacock. X5 is okay. I do agree with the statement that at the beginning of the downfall, X4 is superior by leaps and bounds.
Big time.
And from Mega Man fans, I got a few. From KC Stewart, I agree that it's where X starts to decline in quality. To me, X4 is the pinnacle of the X series. Anything after me is pretty meh. X5, I hated the bosses' names, but I thought the Guns N' Roses references were super lame. And they are lame. Like, they just don't need to be here.
They're not even clever. Like, if you're going to do that, you have to be clever. And nothing about these names are clever. They're just ugly, ugly, dumb names.
They don't fit with what
the
X series. Because the X series has always been where, it's some word in front of another word, and the other one, and the second word is always an animal.
It's adjective animal.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, he didn't even try that. Like, he could have, you could have made it. He doesn't even try. He just, hey, we're just going to name him after Guns N' Roses. And that Guns N' Roses wasn't even that great in 2000, really. I feel like that was kind of their downfall, like, by then. I mean, maybe that's before we found out that Axl Rose is a fucking piece of shit asshole, so, yeah. Hey, if I remember correctly, he's not a good guy.
They were still riding high on the thought that Chinese democracy would be out in a couple of years. They were getting prepared.
I remember when that CD came out, I worked at Target. It did not do great, by the way, but that was in 2009 when it finally came out.
I literally don't know who the hell kept giving Axl Rose money. After so long, somebody has to be like, no, this isn't happening anymore. But
it's not that. I mean, it can't take that. It doesn't take that long to make an album.
Ever. Yeah. Like, ever. Oh, my God.
I mean, I can get a movie. I can get other things as an album. No, like, it's not like, yes, you got to find the right music and, it takes a lot of work, but it's not like it takes, 20 years to make an album.
They were one of the biggest bands in the whole goddamn world. They could have gotten that thing together. Like, it's all Axl Rose being a controlling freak.
Yeah, I heard he's a shit guy from what I heard. So, all right. And then from Abdo Ahmed, the series should stop at X6. MMX5 was great. I didn't like the Falcon armor, but the gameplay and soundtrack was beautiful. X6 was a continuation of X5. It had a good story and gameplay that makes you feel guilty pleasure.
Say he didn't like the Falcon armor?
Yeah, he didn't like it. I know. From Brian McDonald, X5 has had issues, but it's still a great game, especially for the story and what should have been the ending of the X series. Plus, it has, in my opinion, the best soundtrack of the PS1 X games.
It did have a good soundtrack. I enjoyed going through all the selections.
I can't speak to that.
Like, I played it with sound on. I do not remember any of it.
Yeah, I remember Bubble Crab's music.
Oh, yeah, of course.
That's funny that they did that.
I even spent a little bit of time playing along with my guitar to kind of piece out melodies.
That's cool. I mean, I don't play with sound. I didn't have sound on for this game because I don't care. That's a me thing. That's why I can't comment a lot of times on music for games. I just don't pay attention. There's only certain games that I'm like, music is on full blast, and that's usually games from my past, and this is not from my past. So, from Danny B, X5 has had big flaws, but it's a solid Mega Man. Insane intro, a lot of OST remix, and the stages were well built. This one is really just a big fan service. Should have let us have the option to mute Leah.
Yeah, that would have been nice.
I like this. I like these couple ones. Jack Corman, it started declining after X2, and CZ Daniel, it declined after X3.
Oh, God. No.
Man.
I mean, I didn't like X2, but X4 I enjoyed.
F4. So God, so good.
So, I found that. And from the last group I'm going to read from Official Age of Time, I got 2 comments. First one from Chris Lichos. The issue with 5 is that it had to follow up X4, my favorite of the series, and it just can't compete.
Agreed.
Yeah. I mean, I I want to say I really enjoyed X4 when I played it for the show. I don't remember.
Bill did.
So, it's been a while. From Curtis Lemonix, the only problem with X5 is that it was supposed to be the last one in the series before the Zero series took over. It was the last game that Inafune worked on in the series as well. I played the living hell out of this when it kept finding it used at various GameStops during the PS2 era. There's a lot of great parts of this game and gameplay that made sense. The soundtrack was also exquisite. I'm glad that people have fond memories of this game, though.
Mm-hmm.
I have nostalgia for it just because of kind of the context of my life at the time, and that's really it. So when I play it, I'm reminded of those things, but not like I will put on X4 just to play. Like I just turned on X3 yesterday afternoon for something to do and had a lot of fun. But this is like, it's a chore, and it's all because of like, and I don't even mind the story. It's just like, and they fix it in X6 as you can hit select to get the messages. Like if they just would have let you go, like that's fine.
It hurts the flow, and that's something that I don't really think about a lot, but I realized like it really hurt the flow of the game to be stopped while you're trying to do stuff to have to listen.
Yeah, even though I didn't like really enjoy playing this, like because of how hard it was, it did remind me of a time when I was younger and I was a video game collector of sorts. Like I had actual like video game consoles and stuff. And I'm pretty sure this thing had came around when I was in the middle of that period. I had a 3DO and a Saturn at one point and a big Game Gear like thing. I miss those days. I miss having a Game Gear in my hands, even though it sucks as a console.
You can have a Steam Deck in your hands and play Game Gear games. That's better.
Oh, that's not the same. It doesn't feel
better.
the same.
You don't have to change out batteries every 10 minutes.
Yeah, 6 batteries at a time.
I know I'm exaggerating, but it's from what I remember, it's not a very long battery.
I had an adapter, so I never needed batteries.
I have one for my Steam Deck too, and I play Game Gear games too. Right?
There's
some good Game Gear games. There's also, since you brought this up, I'm pretty sure there's a Mega Man Game Gear game.
There is.
Which is just strange.
I found out there's a Neo Geo Pocket Sonic the Hedgehog game, and it's actually a really good Sonic the Hedgehog game. Heads up, everybody.
This is a weird sentence to hear.
And I think that's what they use for Sonic Advance.
Maybe. I mean, it could feel like a little precursor to that, though I actually like it better than Sonic Advance.
The Neo Geo Pocket Color has some pretty great games. There's a collection on Switch. They actually have Mega Man Power Battles and Fighters ported to that thing. And
I really need to play those.
I have a story about that Mega Man the Fighters game. When I was like maybe 7 or 8, we had this like weird little mini golf place where a graphic design company is right now, and they had the actual arcade like test game for Mega Man the Power Fighters, and I only got to play it like 5 or 6 times, but I had it in my head for so many years. I didn't even know that was just a test thing that got sent out. Yeah, it was cool. I like that game a lot.
All right, I think we should go on to Shelf Stacker Box. And I'll go first. I'm going to put this in the stack. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. I'm glad I played it. Will I ever play it again? But it was fine. I mean, it's a fine Mega Man game. It's just a Mega Man game. It's nothing special, and it irritated me a lot at first. But then I grew to like not hate it, and I had fun. So I'm just gonna go in the stack. But I'm really glad that I did play it. What about you, Michael?
This is gonna go in the box. Like for all the reasons we've crapped on it this whole episode. Like if I want to play a good if I want to play a Mega Man game, I'll play one of the good ones. I'll play 1 through 4, X1 through 4, whatever. Crapping on this game. What was I saying?
You're putting it in the box.
Yeah. Oh.
Putting it in the box.
I'm sure X6 will go in there too, but I guess we'll get to that when we get to that.
Yeah. I don't think it's this year. Maybe it's this year. I can't remember. I'm looking at the schedule right now.
I know 9's next, and that's good.
Yeah, X6 is this year. End of this year, you get to replay that wonderful game.
Yay!
If you want to, I have to. You can get to choose.
I am interested in going back to it for some reason.
And what about you, Blair?
I think I'll put it in the stack. I have nostalgia for it. I was excited to play this, and something I don't think we touched on. Like I love the kind of intro to this. Like, it's not animated, but like I just love the music and kind of all like the X history. And I remember turning it on and was like, man, this game's gonna be so exciting. And then I'm just clicking through text and all these tutorials and slow levels, and that was kind of a bummer. But like, it's not disposable. There's some craft to it, but it's just not something that I ever want to revisit. Like, for this show was maybe the first time I've touched it since I bought like Legacy Collection 2, and I finished it just because. Like, it's always a chore. Like, that's why the X Legacy Collection. I can't believe they broke that. I guess it's generous they broke up into parts, but it's like, here's the good part and here's the bad part. Like, you make people buy all of that because they're not going to buy the other ones on their own.
That is a very, very fair statement.
I guess I should have said I was a last minute addition to this episode, and it mainly came down to I want to comment on your post in the Overblood, and I started to type out so much, I'm like, I might as well just be on this thing and complain about it live and type this all out.
Yeah, and it worked out. And Bill Tucker was going to be here, but he last minute something came up and he couldn't make it.
Yeah, life finds a way to ruin things.
Yeah.
I wish I didn't have a life.
All right. And what about you, Rob?
Okay, I do like the art, and I like certain character designs a whole lot, and the music is fine, and it's good Mega Man X style music. But I think I really have to put this in the box, because even though there's a certain nostalgia thing this brings out in my head, and it makes me think about times when I was playing video games a whole hell of a lot and was immersed in them, it also makes me think about the times when I had video games that I couldn't do a damn thing in because they were so crazy hard. And if I can't like just play a video game for fun, and all I end up doing is being stuck in this chore where I'm constantly dying, and then when I'm not dying, I'm being interrupted by this clicking noise and dialogue, stopping my inertia in the action. It's just a frustrating mess for me on that level, and I have to like put it in the box. I wish I could say more. Mega Man X4 is one of the best Mega Man games, and I have fond memories of going through that and being able to like beat it well, and like not having my excitement be completely squashed with all these little stop moments. Like,
that's a good game.
Yeah, I just played through that last month, and it still holds up.
I should have gone through it.
Well, you can in multiple ways, but X4 you should. But X1 you should really replay the first X2.
That was 2 shelves and 2 boxes, Watt, since you're keeping track now.
Yeah, I said I was going to keep track of when I got, but I had not.
We all know better than.
I thought I can't. I haven't even heard from Richard, who's making me the list of how it's going. Which is fine. Hey, it was his. Hey, if you want to do it, I'll gladly take it. We'll put it out there and people can look. But that's too much work.
Yeah, it was like 400 episodes. It's fine.
There's so many episodes. I don't even like. Woof. Woof. The amount of content there is out there. All right, and I should introduce what I'm going to be talking about next week. Next week, I'm going to be talking about a game that I'm very excited to talk about, the Saboteur for Xbox 360. So, listen to that.
Love Nazis.
Oh, there will be lots of...
When you say you love Nazis, like, do you mean in the kinky way, like the black leather way? You got to be more specific about this, Bad people can have great style.
I mean, not to go along his comment, but I do have a cover of a comic I bought simply because of the cover. It's from the Invaders series, Marvel Invaders, and it said "Enter something," and it has a woman in a dominatrix dress fighting Captain America, and I bought it because of that cover. So I then ended up buying the entire Invaders series I have now because those are just really cool covers in general. Like, I'm also a sucker for Captain America. I have multiple Captain America stuff just around me because there's some strange reason I really like Captain America, Hawkeye, Vision, and Iron Man. White Vision.
Yeah, weird.
Why?
He does have the best of the MCU movies, in my opinion. Like, those are great superhero movies.
Amazing movies.
Yep.
Civil War is a movie too.
Yeah, sorry, that's not one of the main ones. But yeah, so I'm going to talk about the Saboteur. But no, I'm very, very excited to talk about that next week. So you'll hear about that. And Blair, where can people find you at?
You can find me at Twitter at Blair Arcade if the algorithm shows you anything I care to talk about. You can read my work at comicbookvideogames.com. Go check out my review of Justice League Cosmic Chaos on Xbox.
Cool.
And go read in the awesome news about how they're making the last Ronin game based on the Ninja Turtle story that, like, I just ordered the trade because I've never actually read it, I'm ashamed to say, but I guess I'm going to change that. But I can't wait to play that game and see what it looks like.
You got me curious because I was like, wow, this game's like really good. Okay, I'm curious. So
yeah, Cosmic Chaos is actually pretty neat.
It's not often you can say DC and good in the same sentence all the time, so it's nice when it happens. I mean, their comics are great.
Oh, boo on you.
I like their comics. Their games lately haven't been like, I'm not excited for some of their games. Like the Suicide Squad versus Justice League, I could give a shit about. Like, even that ever does come out, I don't care about it right now.
The DC video game history is so frustrating. Like, think about that Superman 64 game. That's like a stain you carry for generations.
No,
Christopher Lee wants to kill that thing because of blood.
It's just games have been great for the past decade. It's only Gotham Knights have stumbled. Like, we've had a decade of
there's been some good ones.
Batman games. And
I think it's just
Arkham,
I'm just talking about more of like.
True, we do have good Batman stuff.
The Suicide Squad game, I'm just like I want to be excited for it, but I can't get excited for it.
Yeah.
So Super Pets, I know wasn't very great. And that's I guess that's what I was thinking of last time.
Yeah, I mean that's.
Because I remember you went and got that game day one to review it for your website, and you were like, "This is shit."
Now I have 2 copies.
I just remember that's all.
Got
but no,
sweet.
I like DC a lot. I actually think I like DC more than Marvel, even though I like Marvel characters more. But I've been reading a lot of comics, and DC has good comics. So
I've been reading some more DC lately because they have a little shelf at our local Walmart. So I pick up all these I guess it's like their back stock that they lease out in these comic packs that come four comics to a pack.
Yeah.
I'm getting a little frustrated though. Like, a lot of the comics have a similar art look, and it kind of feels like bland. I don't know how to explain it otherwise.
What's meant to trap you into sell to a different audience. Go to a comic book store is what you want to do.
Yeah, I live in such a shitty town. That's like 3 hours away.
Well, Marvel Unlimited or DC, whatever the hell it's called, those are definitely worth it if you're into comics. Like, if you don't mind reading digital. Like, if you have a tablet, reading digital is great. I read all my comics digitally on a tablet, and it's amazing. That's how I enjoy it a lot.
I've been reading Green Hornet comics digitally lately because I've been so fascinated by that character, and they're pretty good. Sorry to verge off topic.
Oh, you're fine. And Robbie, where can people find you at?
People can find me at Conversations with Robbie Sherman. I'm still getting in the process of putting the Freakazoid podcast out. I know it's been a while, guys, but trust me, I'll have it out soon. I'm getting back to editing because I've been dealing with some tooth pain the past month or so. It's just been a little bit of a frustration. Yeah, it's never good.
Oh, right. And if you enjoyed this episode, you can find over 450 other episodes of this podcast, or all the Mega Man content we have created will be in the show notes, so I don't need to read it out loud to you. You can go find everything in there, so definitely go scroll through that and see what else we've done. We've done a bunch of the Mega Man series, X series.
A lot better ones.
Yes. So go check all those out.
You know what, gentlemen? I just had an idea. If y'all are welcome... Y'all are invited to join me and do the Ruby Spears TV show sometime, or some of it, anyways.
I'd have to watch it, so we'll see. It's not on my list. But hey, if I run out of Mega Man stuff, you never know.
It's less of a commitment than Mega Man X5, at least.
I'd rather play a game than watch a show.
You get a cohesive story from episode to episode.
Cartoons. Old cartoons are hard to go back to. 1987 Turtles hurt me. Okay, and I want to give a shout out to my awesome intro and outro, courtesy of Helena at Hell Haspher. You can follow her on TikTok. Also want to give a shout out to my buddy Bill Tucker. He started his own podcast, The Gamer Looks at 40. You'll see a link in the show notes. Definitely check him out. He does a very great show. And please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and on YouTube. And we do have a Patreon. This is a new Patreon poll. It has just started at the time that you're hearing this. So it's going to be Tim Curry movies Mike has never seen. And I'm still narrowing it down. The list will be live by the time you hear this. But it's going to be Legend, The Shadow, The Worst Witch. And I'm not sure about the other one yet. So you can go vote in that for little as $1. And we have a Discord. Please join our Discord, chat with us. And follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and on YouTube. And I think that's everything I need to say. So we will see you guys next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
See ya.